The newly minted sheriff in the upper chamber is wasting no time to get his priorities in his to-do list out of the way, even as he tries to shrug off a barrage of resistance against his appointment as the top guy in the Senate and second in the line of succession. PTV correspondent reports on the passage of the much-awaited BBL proposed bill that the Senate President Vicente Soto III seeks to achieve, and his thoughts on the co-warranto issue and other matters as the top guy in Congress's upper chamber.
Senate President Vicente Soto III is eyeing for the passage of the Senate's version of the proposed Bangsamoro Basic Law next week before the Senate takes a recess. Soto says they are still waiting for the President to certify BBL as urgent.
Keeping my fingers crossed, we will be able to pass and finish the period of amendments by Monday, at the latest Tuesday, and then pass it on second reading on Tuesday. And if we receive the certification from the President, then we do away with the 3-day rule and we can approve it on third reading by Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest.
Soto admits that discussions on the BBL might take some time in the bicameral proceedings, especially since differences in the Senate and House versions need to be reconciled.
In the Senate, I think we will be able to come up with a conservative but well-crafted proposal. The House is much closer to what the BTC submitted. But we're also optimistic that if the President sees the Senate version, we might get the support in many of the proposals that we would want.
Soto says the BBL can be a possible template for the federated regions should the country shift to a federal form of government. Meanwhile, Soto says he remains neutral on the resolution signed by majority of senators questioning SC's decision on the co-warranto petition. Soto explains he does not want to be accused of intervening with the affairs of the judiciary. Nonetheless, he welcomes discussing the resolution in the plenary and is open to eventually adopting it.
Oh, I'm willing to vote for it if during the debates we are convinced that we should pass such a resolution.
Meanwhile, the senator also addresses his critics, saying he'd rather focus on his duties in the Senate. He says he views it as a compliment that the public associates him as an actor and comedian. Nevertheless, he says the public should also consider his track record on all the laws he has either sponsored, co-written, or helped pass into law in his 2 decades of service as a legislator.
I would like to remain positive, especially now that I'm Senate President. I no longer want to pay attention to distractions.
Pauline Recuesto for The Nation.